Honest J. Nowak. Oh yeah.
A pleasure to meet all at last, and welcome back to Legacy of Supers on Honest J. Nowak. So now for today's installment, in this little inline sub-series that I have going on here, I'm going to be talking about Thor's sibling, Loki. And yeah, of course, I'm probably going to be doing a lot of stuff when it comes to talking about specific characters in the MCU, because after all, the MCU may not have gotten every single character in line, but wow. It was still a pretty impressive number of heroes and villains they were able to tangle in. But looking at Loki, who of course was played by Tom Hiddleston, it's safe to say that, for the most part, Loki in the MCU was amazing. I mean, one of the first times that we ever got to see Loki was, of course, during some of the first Thor films in the early 2010s. But, of course, Loki's most prominent feature during that time was in the Avengers in 2012. Of course, I should probably highlight that, well, 2012 was probably one of the last years that I ever saw the Cinedigm feature along with the voiceover, which pretty much says, Cinedigm, a new paradigm in cinema. I mean, I just can't really find that anywhere online. So if someone out there could pretty much have that in play, then well, it'd be awesome. Well, anyways, Loki, of course, is the sibling of Thor, but also one whom is very hungry for power. So this pretty much goes to show that Loki becomes a superior nemesis of Thor, as well as to the remainder of the Avengers that were around that time. Of course, the cast continued to grow bigger as the years grew by, but also the relationship between Thor and Loki started to dwindle down to a point where they both end up becoming good. Yeah. As time went on, the years passed by, Loki would actually become a hero, for the most part. Because by 2017, when Thor Ragnarok came around, Loki and Thor didn't really interact with each other that well, but unfortunately, it actually got a lot better between both of them. Yeah, it's an unfortunate thing because, of course, the thing is that, well, Loki may have been very bad that time, but eventually, it just turns out good. Which was kind of confusing for me. Especially because, well, they had consistency based on the good side to all the heroes out there and the bad side to all the villains. But Loki, of course, is probably one of those that I can classify as neutral and not so much of a villain. But the thing is, Loki started out as a villain and eventually became good. Because by the end of Thor Ragnarok, they actually worked together to attempt to defeat Hela, as well as the giant Ragnarok beast that attempted to destroy Asgard. Not to mention the Incredible Hulk was there as well. So, that's just a little more for you, looking back at where the heroes are from, but anyways. Loki, of course, had a lot of abilities, had a lot of power, and was pretty significant enough to try and take on Thor many times over. But there were a lot of times where it just didn't seem to do well. Well, anyways, I guess there just really isn't much else for me to talk about based on Loki, so I guess that pretty much just goes to show that not all villains can pretty much stay villainous. This is one occasion where it's neutral. I guess I just don't really know what I'm doing here at this point, so if you want to see more, go down to my channel with some more villains here this time. I commit to that. Make sure that you like, subscribe, comment, follow me on social media, and stay on the Hollywood side.